Good afternoon and welcome to my other tutorial. I am going to be showing you all how to set up GPUs and organizational units using Server 2008. First, what you would like to do is click on Start and go to Administrative Tools and then go to Group Policy Management. Now that you're in Group Policy Management, I want you to take a look at a couple of things. You're going to see there's the forest sknet.com. There's the domain which we have created, sknet.com. It has a default domain policy and it's not enforced. It says enforce no, and you can expand on this and you're going to see the default policy. You're going to also see group policy objects and so forth. What we're going to do first, we're going to create a new group policy object. So we're going to go ahead and select new and we're going to name it test GPU. Go ahead and hit OK. Now we're going to right click on test GPU and continue to edit this. So the purpose of a group policy is basically to control client users' access to, let's say, critical or sensitive information on a client machine, such as the control panel, the run function, the command prompt, so forth, and also the administrator could dictate or control how he wants the client or what he wants the client to have access to or do on the client machine. So we're going to see some options here. It says computer configuration and user configuration. We're going to go to user configuration. We're going to expand on policies and go to administrative templates. Now in administrative templates, you're going to see some things here. You can expand on this. You're going to see control panel, desktop, network, share folders. It gives you a list of the different options that you can configure and manipulate and also control what the user has access to onto the client machine. So we're going to go to the control panel and we're going to see here it has a lot of different options. We can also select here prohibit access to control panel. It gives you an explanation of what it does. It said this setting prevents control the program file for a control panel from starting, so it allows the user to don't have access to control panel, which allows access to a lot of sensitive areas on the client machine itself. So what we can do, you can either right click on it and go to properties, or you can double click and it comes up here. You can select enabled and then hit apply, and then when you scroll across, when you're going to see here the state says enabled. You can go to some other options on this as well. If you go to control panel, you can expand some further. You can go to add or remove programs, and in add or remove programs, you're going to see a list of different options that the administrator can also use to prevent the client from having access to. You can choose to the desktop. We can go to the start menu. In this case, for our start menu, let's see. We're going to remove run from the start menu. So you said, I see here it would allow run to be removed from the start menu. So we're going to double click on this, select enabled. It gives you an explanation here of exactly what's going to take place. Hit apply and then hit OK. As well as when you scroll across, you're going to see enabled. It says yes. And we're going to close this out. So just take note, two things that we remove run from the start menu and we disable access to the control panel. There's a lot of different things that you can also configure to prevent the clients from having access to. Let's see if I can add another one just to give a quick demonstration of what's going on. Let's see. Alright, you see there's an option here that says removes pictures icon from the start menu, remove network icon, remove music icon, and so forth. let's see. You can remove the start link from the search link from the start menu. So let's go to properties and enable that also. So you see here, if you scroll across, you can see this is enabled and run is also enabled. We can close this off. Now what we'll need to do is create a new organizational unit. So what we're going to do is right click on the domain itself and select new organizational unit. Then we're going to call it test org unit. We're going to hit OK. Now what we want to do is the test organizational unit, we're going to want to link this to our GPO. So what we're going to do, we're going to right click and we're going to go down, link existing GPO. You're going to see the test GPO that we just configured and select OK. So now when you go to the test org unit, you're going to see test GPO is created here. What we also want to do, we want to create a new user. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my Active Directory using computers, and I have a user created here that's named John Smith. Now if you go here, you're going to see that John Smith is currently logged in on the Windows 7 virtual machine. John Smith has access to control panel currently. If I go to John Smith and I type in run, the run function also comes up. Also, John has access to the search menu, the search bar on the start menu. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the server machine. We're going to take John Smith and move him into our organizational unit, which is the test GPO. So we're going to go back here, test organizational unit. You're going to see that here. Active Directory using computers. Now right click on John Smith. Sorry. Select move, and we're going to move him to test organizational unit. So John Smith has actually been used to test org unit. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our test org unit and we're going to double click on the GPO itself. It says OK, and it gives you a security filtering that applies to specific users. What we're going to do is remove authenticated users, hit OK, and then we're going to add John Smith to this list. We're going to click on advanced and we're going to click find now, and we're going to just locate John Smith in our users list. There he is, John Smith, and we're going to hit OK. So John Smith at sknet.com has been added to our security filtering. Now that this has been completed, what you'll need to do is update the group policy on the server machine. So you're going to start and go to your command prompt and type in the command gp update. Hit enter and it's going to say updating policy. Once this is completed, you're going to see user policy has been completed user policy update has been completed successfully. Computer policy update has been completed successfully. Now we're going to go back to our Windows 7 machine. We're going to see John Smith. We're going to log out John Smith to show you the changes that would have taken effect. So we're going to log off. Now we're going to log back in for John Smith. I'm going to hit enter. Now we've logged back in under John Smith. We're going to hit on the start menu and we're going to take a look at the options that we would have configured and see if any changes were made. First thing I want you to take notice of that we did have access to the control panel previously. Now we don't have. You only see computer and it goes strictly to device printer, so we no longer have access to the control panel. So in this instance, John Smith cannot make any changes and he cannot access the control panel. Secondly, we would have removed the run function. So if I type in run, it says no items match your search. This is because the user John Smith no longer has access to the function run. Alright, if you go to search and let's say you open up John Smith, you can see John also has access to his regular files and folders and so forth, which weren't restricted in our GPO policy. We can go back to the server, go back to the administrative tools, go to group policy management again, and what we can do, we can go back to our group policy object and we can edit this further. We can go back to preferences, policies, and the user configuration and administrative templates, and we can also go back to, let's go to the desktop, see what options. Alright, so we can say we can prohibit deleting items, desktop wallpaper, set this setting when fully required, store the wallpaper image. You cannot type the local path, so forth. And this one allows you deleting items, this one allows you to prohibit changes and so forth. So let's go to prohibit deleting items, properties, select enabled, apply, okay. We're going to close this off and we're going to update our policy again. Okay, now that this has completed, we're going to return to our client machine and we're just going to create a file on the desktop, a folder, basic folder, test, and we're going to right click on it and you see there's an option here to delete. So we can actually delete in this instance. We're going to create a new one again, folder, name it test. What we're going to do now, we're going to log off so the changes will take effect, and then we're going to log back in. Hit enter. Okay, so we're gonna hit OK. If we right click on this now, we can see that we got a problem. It still allows us, we need to configure further on our server with regards to deleting items. However, you did see from the past that we did have options here on our client machine, and some of the policies that we did implement did take effect. So the client still does not have the access to the control panel as well as run. Alright, so that's it. Thanks for watching my video. In my next tutorial, I'll be showing you all how to do mandatory profile.